Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break your keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane, living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your did I brush you off? Is it your lack of friends? We never met, even if you pretend. Am I in your debt? I don't owe you nothing. Don't say something you'll regret. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it. I'm telling you, don't waste it. Life's telling you, don't waste it on me.
Good evening, all. Welcome back to the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. I am your host, the WandrinDutch, and of course joined with my co-host this evening, the Boxing Burger. How are you doing today, sir? Welcome back.
Good evening, man. It's been a while. It's been a while
It has.
since we had a midweek mix-up together.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm excited to be back in the podcasting game with you. It's been just way too long. I truly missed our conversations with you and, of course, with our awesome community here. So, man, I'm doing good. Little exhausted from work, but other than that, it's a fantastic time to be a gamer. There's so much to talk about, and and I'm looking forward to a great show.
Yep, indeed. Same. So obviously I've had a week off. Before that, I was extremely busy with other family things and such. So I haven't been on for 2 weeks, and then wasn't on the World of Gaming for 2 weeks. So I'm completely out of sync. So chat's gonna have to bear with us this evening because we are completely out of funk. We need to get back into the swing of things again.
It's just been so weird, man. First, I was on vacation and missed 2 shows, and then come back, and then you got your family thing going on, and then weren't able to make it. So I think it's been a month since we two have been on a podcast together, man. We need to get back in our groove here, dude.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
I barely didn't find my mic, man. I don't know what to do anymore here.
Yeah, I did a stream on I think it was Monday night. I did a short gameplay stream of Lies of P. I'll talk about that in a minute as well.
Yeah.
But I was completely, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, where's the button? How am I doing this again? Is everything on? Does it look good? No.
What is OBS again?
What is this again?
What does this button do? Yeah,
Oh no, it's broke. But so yeah, getting back into the funk of things. It's great to see everybody in the chat. And obviously we will try and cover off as much of the news as we can. We'll try and leave some topics for tomorrow because of course we have the world of gaming tomorrow as well. So
yeah, indeed.
So we'll cover it off as best as we can. But Boxy, you've had more chance than I have over this last week or so to play games. So what you been up to? What you been playing?
Man, I had the best gaming Sunday in a very, very long time. You know, on Saturday evening, my wife told me, "So, man, I'm taking the kids to my parents tomorrow. We're gonna have they wanted to do something in the garden there." And I was like, "Do I need to come?" "No, you can stay at home." It was like, ding, ding. They got up at 6 a.m. I slept. I got out of bed, I don't know, 7:30 or so in the morning in my PJs, made me a coffee, got into my man cave, never took off the PJ the entire day, and spent the entire day playing Starfield, or some Greek food. It was phenomenal, bro. It was so yeah, I had probably a little bit more gaming time over the last 2 weeks, I want to say, because I know what you've been up to, and man, not envying you.
Yeah.
You've been really busy. So no, I had a great time, and I'm knee deep in Starfield, bro. It's just that game is just phenomenal. There's just something with Bethesda games that click with me. My first Bethesda game was actually Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall.
Yeah.
And ever since, I've been a sucker for their games. Morrowind is, I probably told you that at some point, but telling the story anyway now. There was a time in my life where I was mainly a PC guy. I always had the consoles, I had like way back in the days the Super Nintendo and the Sega systems and the Mega Drive and everything, and then eventually the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 2 and 1 and 2 both actually, and then but I only played like some of the console games, but especially here in Germany at that time, localization was really poor basically with all those games. If you were lucky, you had like English subtitles to most games. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, man. There was no localization.
No.
You only had the subtitles in English, and my English wasn't that good at the time. I was, I don't know, 16 years old or so. Yeah, and if you think about that time, it was just annoying. And PC was always awesome. Yeah, so I was mainly a PC guy. And that actually changed when I went to the university. And one day, I lived in a shared apartment, and one day my roommate he brought. To this day, I have no idea where he got it. Actually, the Xbox. And we played Halo and everything. It started with that, of course, and then I discovered Morrowind, and Morrowind was the game that made me a console first gamer, actually.
Right, okay.
I don't know, because it was just this game that you usually only were able to experience on PC. Yeah, if you think about the RPGs at that time that were like impactful, I'm talking like the Gothics and such games. You had to play them on PC, and for the first time, I had like this full experience, like the full gaming experience of a full-fledged PC, massive open world game on a console. And I love Morrowind, and then I became a mainly console first guy.
Yeah.
To this day, I play. I have a very capable PC, but I just prefer to play it on console. But that's not the topic, man. I'm digressing.
Starfield was
what I
you
mean,
were talking about, and Bethesda titles.
Starfield and Bethesda titles, exactly. So, and then of course Oblivion was the game for me. Like, I know people were super excited about all the Xbox games, you know, Halo 3 in the days and everything. And I love those games, don't get me wrong, but Oblivion is like phenomenal. And then at the very end of the generation, Skyrim, and I consider Skyrim to be one of the best games ever made.
Yeah,
like in the top 5.
Yeah,
probably top 3. It's just phenomenal game that I played to this day, and Fallout 3 was absolutely awesome. So these Bethesda games just click with me, and so does Starfield, man. I know you could argue about a lot of things. Like, the longer I play, the more annoying I find the loading screens. Honestly, they didn't bother me in the first 20 hours, but after 50 hours or so, they started to bother me a little bit more. Like, okay, another one, and then another one, but so there are things you could argue about that game, but at the very end, I can't put it down. I love it so much, man. I finished almost every faction quest line now. I mean, the last one I'm doing right now is the Crimson Fleet. You know, infiltrating them.
So yeah, I started that one, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it.
It is fantastic, bro. Have you done the first true opening mission of that game?
Yeah.
Where you have to go through the ice cave and find a certain thing. No spoilers here.
Yeah.
So I just love it. Being the spy, you know, for the UC Vanguard, and
I think
it's.
I like the. I don't know whether or not it was the Vanguard or United Colonies one with the aliens.
That is the Vanguard.
Yeah. I think
Vanguard
that's probably
quest
my
line.
favorite so far.
That was the best one.
Yeah,
that was the best one so far. The one I did was mediocre. Is the Rujin? I don't know if you've done that.
I haven't done that one yet.
You know, the corporate one.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like fetch quest lines. You know, go to that, steal that, bring it back. Go to that. Boom. But the others are not the Crimson Fleet, the 3-Star Rangers. That was also very fun one, really good, and I'm thoroughly enjoying the Crimson Fleet. And the twists you can do there, it's fantastic, man. I love it. So yeah, I've done almost every quest line for the companions, the companion quest lines. The only one that I didn't do is Vasco. I actually don't know if he has one, but the others do, like Barrett and Sarah. And
you know what the funny thing is, Boxy, is before I took a break and went away, I was miles ahead of you in terms of playtime. Miles ahead. You were on like 16 hours, and I was on like 70. So
yeah, man, I was in Italy on vacation, bro. I was actually, honestly, I was surprised when I came back. I saw, okay, you played on your vacation like 16 or 17 hours on the Ally. That were my first like hours in the game.
Yeah. What was the difference? How did you feel like the difference was when you switched over to console?
I mean, obviously the game is much more bombastic when you see it on a big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that it looks bad on the Ally. The Ally has a fantastic screen, like for a handheld, phenomenal, honestly. Popping colors, you know, super bright. fantastic contrast. I mean, seriously, phenomenal screen. But of course, it is much more, impressive when you see it on the big screen. But I did play it at a higher frame rate on the Ally. Yeah, and I had to get used to that, playing it at 30 at first. So actually, I'm going right now back and forth in between PC.
Yeah.
And I'm super surprised. Like, I have a 3080 and I can run it on ultra settings with FSR enabled at 80%, so 80% base resolution, and then the rest is upscaled via FSR. I can run it at ultra settings at very stable 60 FPS, and honestly, that is obviously the best way to play.
Yeah.
But I have to play it in front of the PC, and I dislike that.
Yeah. There's always pros and
always
cons.
feels like work when I sit in front of the computer, so that's why I prefer to play on console. But yeah, man, it is a beautiful game. Also, here you could nitpick. I mean, it's a gorgeous game, absolutely. Yeah. And one thing I do have to say about, I don't want to say bother, but where I would have hoped that they do a little bit more is the characters. Honestly, the faces, that's not 23. Not a triple
the funny
A
thing is about
the 23 game.
Is in certain situations the characters look good, and in other situations they look absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
it's really weird. Like sometimes they look absolutely like 360 characters, like ancient, and then other times they look fantastic, hyper detailed. Like
yeah. It's really not consistent. There was this one guy in the Crimson Starfield quest line that you meet very early in the first mission.
Yeah.
So you are hiring for the Crimson Fleet, and the other guy is doing too. And I forgot his name. That guy looked phenomenal, dude. Like seriously, it was like, what's happening? And then you look at other characters, even some of your companions, and yeah, definitely not a AAA 23 game. And then on the other hand, you look at the vistas, the landscapes when you glancing at these planets, and it just looks absolutely stunning. The details in the texture work, the ships in space look phenomenal. The explosions look amazing. The city's neon is amazing. I love Aquila City. You know, that's my vibe, bro. I mean, that's what I mean. It is an absolutely gorgeous game. The lighting is fantastic. The texture work is fantastic. Can't complain there. And that's why I think the characters stand out in not a good way.
Yeah.
They are probably not that bad, but since the rest of the game looks so phenomenal, you kind of wonder, why they were not able to do more on that side. But again, I don't want to nitpick too much here because I'm just having a blast. Like, the discovery in the game is so much fun.
It's one thing I've noticed as well is, like, no matter which planet I've been to, I could just pick, and this is what I like doing as well, I just pick a random planet, and then I pick a random place on that planet, and I'll sit down, and I'll scan around, and before I know it, I'm just like, okay, there's a random structure, so I go over to that structure, it happens to be a hidden base, and I end up going down into the depths and finding all these random people and tons of random documents, and I'm like, this is like, I've literally just picked this out of thin air. I haven't planned what planet I'm going to. I've just chosen one that isn't part of any story, and I'm just going. Like, I spend like 2 hours exploring this random hidden base.
Yeah,
and I've done that several times. I just go, okay, where are we going today?
Same. And I mean, when you enter a solar system, it shows you on the planets when there is like abandoned science lab or whatnot. Yeah. obviously you expect something to be there
Yeah.
when you land there. But like you said, you just land randomly at some weird ass planet that has nothing on it, at some random place somewhere on the globe of that particular planet or moon, and you will find something.
Yeah.
It's absolutely awesome, man. And I feel like what they have really excelled at is the writing and the story, the quest layouts. Like, again, Skyrim, one of the best games in my top 3 ever made. But I had to play Skyrim for like 3 times before I understood the main story and what was actually going on.
Yeah.
And that's what I always say about the Kojima games. Nobody can explain the story in the Kojima games, but everyone is like, "Ooh, genius story writing and storytelling." I mean, like, shit, bro. If nobody can follow your story you're telling, it's a shit story writing, and Bethesda was not really good at that. Honestly, they had actually great stories to tell, but the writing and the way how they presented and explained the story in games like even Fallout, it was a little bit better in Fallout than it was in Skyrim, but in Starfield, you know, this is they completely changed there. It is like you can follow all the quest lines, even if you stop mid through and come back at a later point. Yeah, you can pick up and follow the storyline. The writing is good. That's really one thing where they have improved significantly. I'm still super surprised by how much fun the dogfighting is. I was like, even after the 50 minute direct we got after the Xbox showcase, I was like, okay, cool that it's in there, but it's probably not gonna be fun. Bethesda doing space fights. But bro, this is awesome. Like, literally, the controls feel tight. You can feel, if you build your own ship, you can feel, okay, now it behaves different and it feels different to fight and shoot and do maneuvers and whatnot. I mean, honestly, dogfighting is so much fun in that game.
Yeah.
Shipbuilding, great, man. Once you get the hang of that, it is implemented well. I have not dived into base building just yet too deep. I landed at some planet, started to build a base, and then I was too impatient and I just left, and now I can't find it anymore. I have no idea where that base is. I feel like that should, honestly, that should be on the map. Yeah, in your solar system. At least your, I mean, it's the same with like the main cities. If you don't remember the name of the solar system and planet, you won't find Aquila City.
Yeah.
And I feel that could be definitely improved, at least for your own bases, because if you start building a base at some random ass planet, one of the thousands, and you can't find it anymore because you forgot to remember the solar system's name, and you're screwed, bro. But yeah, the game offers just so much, man. The combat feels really good.
Yeah.
Like, shooting, top notch, man. What you would exactly what you would expect from a full-fledged shooter, you know, which isn't Starfield. So yeah, man, I'm just a sucker for them. I always say, like, what makes those Bethesda games so great is they are vastly deep RPGs, and most RPGs have the problem that you really have to invest a lot of time into it to like get the grip and hang of it.
Yeah.
Even with the best game ever made, The Witcher, like, it takes you a while to understand the RPG system, what you kind of need to do in order to level up properly, to get the best out of your stats and everything. And that is different with Bethesda games. Bethesda RPGs, they are easy to get into, but hard to master. You know,
Yeah.
they are deep enough so that it's not just very superficial, like with the Assassin's Creed games, the last 3 Assassin's Creed games. They are very basic RPGs. You can get easy. I understand why Ubisoft did it. They want to approach the mass market. You know,
Yeah.
you can't have like super deep RPG systems for the normies, but then they fall flat on that aspect, you know. And that's different with Bethesda RPGs. You can go really deep. Like recently, I decided to go full on modding weapons, bro. Leveling up my science skills now. I was very heavily investing in my skill points in like do more damage with rifles, faster reloads, and you know, combat skills, and then the jetpack upgrades and stuff like that. But honestly, if you want to do more damage, invest in weapon modding.
Yeah.
The shit you can do there, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I love it. I just love it. I'm now at this point where I'm not sure what I do next. Once I finish up the Crimson Fleet quest line, I think I have done, at least I think, the main story or side quest lines, like the companion quest lines and the faction quest lines. Obviously, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other like shorter side quests and shorter quest lines out there that I haven't discovered, obviously. So, question for me right now is whether to go look for more of those, or if I kind of continue with the game in the main story, finish it up, because I know I'm gonna do the New Game Plus anyway.
How far are you into the main story?
I have no idea. I don't think that I'm far. I just did the first couple of missions so that I get all companions.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad you've done the companion quests first. Put it that way, because one of them is gonna die.
Bro, spoilers!
It's not. It's not, because no. The only thing I'll give you a heads up on is the one that you want to stay safe, and you can only choose one to stay safe, is the one you need to build a relationship with the most. Anyone else is fair game, and it's random. So other than the person that you chose to stay safe, anybody else is fair game to die in a part of the story. And it's different for everybody.
It's too much spoilers, man.
It's not.
Too many spoilers here.
It's not. So mine was one of the... Mine was one of the lead characters. I've forgotten her name. Was it Laura?
Sarah.
Yeah, she died. On my game, she died. I didn't even see it coming. I was like, what? Why? Why? Why did this happen? And I was reading into it, and it was like, it's completely random. It's just whoever you choose, or whoever happens to be the closest to you at that point, will be the one that lives. Everybody else in your group is fair game to die at a part of a story. So I'm not going to tell you what part of the story, how far you are in it.
I'm not far. Like I said, I just played like in the after 2 missions or so in the main line, you get like 3 main missions at once. And basically every of those missions gives you, like, you find Barrett, you find Sam Cole, and you find Andreja. And I just did those 3 so that I have all the companions. And then I stopped. So I'm super early in the main story. Yeah, I'm thinking about, like, okay, just finishing up the story once, because everyone keeps telling me how awesome New Game Plus is built in.
Because it's a follow-up
and I would
to
do
the story.
A lot of things different. Yeah, I would do a lot of things different if I have to play the quest lines again, you know. So, or not a lot of, but probably a couple of things. So I'm leaning more towards that, because I don't want to get like too much time in base building now, also knowing
that it's gonna go.
that it's gonna go anyway, and then just do the story once and then start new game plus. Yeah, and then that's my eternal game.
Yeah.
Where I then just, okay, that's the save file I'm gonna be playing for however long I'm gonna be playing Starfield.
I know a lot of people as well, and I've seen a lot of people are on like new game plus 5. Like they've just lapped over so many times now, and I'm like, how have you done this? Like, really? Like,
No idea.
I would be absolutely devastated.
If you just play the main storyline all the time.
Yeah. I'll be absolutely devastated to lose the ship that I've built, because I've spent ages building this ship and ages leveling it up and ages doing all that, and you lose all of your ship levels, you lose all your perk points. Like, you stay the same level as a person, but you don't keep all your perks and everything like that you've got, or your weapons or anything like that. Apparently you get some cool items, but I'm like, I don't really want to lose everything and start again, but but we'll see.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little torn,
Yeah.
because now I feel like I've played the most important storylines.
Yeah.
Besides the main story. Obviously there's a lot of tons of stuff to discover and cool stories to be discovered just yet. But now I know myself, I would now like really dive into base building, into ship building, into like modding and stuff. And then knowing that this is gonna be gone, so I feel like I'm probably gonna do it. And then also I have to consider also another thing, bro. There are just an insane amount of games coming out now. Cyberpunk now. Man, I want to play Cyberpunk again.
Forza.
And then, obviously Forza is coming, Alan Wake 2 is coming, and then we have Assassin's Creed coming. And then Spider-Man towards the end of the month.
Yeah.
And at some point I need to, not just focus on Starfield and also play a couple of others. Yeah, that's like, bro, for this year I have, I don't believe in backlogs. Backlogs is just an excuse of games we do not want to play. Yeah. But they're really like, I have put 2 games so far on hold where I say, okay, I have to play those.
Yeah.
Actually, and that's Final Fantasy 16 and Sea of Stars. I haven't had a chance to play those 2 games just yet, but I think, Sea of Stars is going to be my new ally game. I feel like that's perfect for it, probably.
Yeah.
And then of course all the console games are coming out again. Alan Wake 2 is around the corner. Forza,
Avatar.
Well, that's December. Yeah, so
the tail end.
So we have a little time till Avatar, but like the October madness, man. Assassin's Creed looks phenomenal, honestly. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that it's a smaller experience and I don't have to pay full price for it. It's only like $50. So yeah, Fanto in the chat says, Boxy has a backlog confirmed. Yeah, no, man, that's not a backlog. That's actually a list of games I want to play. Like, not when people tell me always about, man, I have 200 games in my backlog. Yeah, no, bro, you don't. This is a list of games you're never gonna play. That's what it is.
My list for this year is pretty much the same as you. So it's literally just gonna be Starfield. I'm not gonna get around to Spider-Man this year. I'm not in a rush for Spider-Man anyway. I enjoyed Spider-Man, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I was like, I had a good time, but it's not something that jumps out at me for like a Game of the Year contender or something I'm going to rush out and buy. So I'm going to wait. play that later on. It's not something that I need to rush out and buy.
Day one for me, man.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely amazing. I love the first two.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, however, next year is a day one for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is one of the main reasons I eventually upgraded to the PlayStation 5, was for Rebirth. I was like, listen, we're all going to have to just swallow that red pill and the fact that Final Fantasies are never coming back to Xbox. So, get a PlayStation if you want to play the new Final Fantasies, whether that be 16 or 7 or 7 Remake, Part 3, whatever it is. I just don't see them coming over now. I don't.
No.
It was good news that we got Octopath Traveler 2 the other day, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But I think
it's also a game I haven't played yet, but I'm gonna, and I was this close because I saw it on Steam in the sale.
Yeah.
I was this close on pulling the trigger, and I was browsing through the news, and it looks like it's coming to Game Pass day one. So I figured, okay, I'm not gonna have time to play it anyway. Probably now.
You know, I don't know whether or not that's a typo.
I mean, there are multiple rumors now pointing towards it, so it's not confirmed. I know it's not confirmed, but it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one came day one to Game Pass.
I mean, it'd be awesome. It would save me some money.
Exactly.
But yeah, for me, same as you. It's Sea of Stars, FF16 at the end of the year. I'm gonna get that on sale.
Yeah, and Cyberpunk now.
Yeah,
because I know the problem with Cyberpunk is I don't want to rush Cyberpunk. This is too good of a game, man.
And apparently it's a really good expansion. Like it is. Yeah. The game is now in the shape that it should have been at launch, and now you've got police chases and everything like that are there with like max tech,
car combat, man, vehicle combat. It looks stunning, man. And this is one game I can't play right now, because now I would feel like I would rush it to squeeze it in before Alan Wake and especially Assassin's Creed, and then Spider-Man, and I wouldn't give it the proper attention it deserves. So this is probably going to be my Christmas title, holiday title.
What is?
You know,
Spider-Man?
Cyberpunk.
Oh, Cyberpunk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's I right now, because of the time that I've had off, and I still have so much to do in Starfield, and I just don't know when I'm going to finish that game, if at all, ever. I'm just enjoying it. Like, I could literally just wander around random planets for hours, and then build another spaceship, and then rank up and try and build another one, and try to get the best parts that I can and make funky looking ships. I can just see myself playing this game for a very, very long time, which is a good
me
thing.
too. I mean, eventually I will probably. This is exactly what happened with Skyrim as well. Obviously, at some point you're gonna drop out a little bit, play some other games, and then you come back, and you come back, and you come back for years.
Yeah,
you know. And that's what's going to happen with Starfield eventually. But right now I'm enjoying it just too much. So dropping out of Starfield now would feel wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much I want to see from that game.
Yeah.
And then rushing Cyberpunk before all the other games come out. I mean, Forza also coming out soon.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is with Forza, I'm not the biggest sim racer.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to play it just to see how it looks, and see if the career mode is going to grab my attention and keeps me engaged. But then, Alan Wake 2, we're gonna talk about that tomorrow, man. There are some fantastic things to talk about that game, and then Assassin's Creed looks really fun, and Spider-Man, and it's madness, man. I don't know how we. But we complain about that almost every October, right? The October madness is just...
You know what it is, though? I feel, but it is a little bit different this year, because this is the first time I've seen several publishers intentionally delay their games because of how busy it is this year.
Yeah, but it's a general problem of,
Yeah,
well,
just
it's not a
across the
problem,
industry,
but the thing of the industry this year. I mean, this year, honestly, it is probably going to go down as the best year in video game history.
Oh, absolutely. If you're a fighting fan,
There's
you've
only
had
one
Mortal
year.
Kombat and Street Fighter this year. You've also had Tekken, the beta, and I think Tekken's trying to come out by the end of the year as well. And then if you're talking about kind of sports fans, you've had unbelievable amounts of racing games, whether it be Forza Motorsport or Motorfest, which is reviewed really well, or other kind of racing titles. And then if you look at RPGs, you've had Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo, Starfield. Like, there's an abundance of RPGs, Final Fantasy, Sea of Stars. Like, it just keeps going. No matter what genre you look at, there is
Diablo,
millions.
Star Wars, Hogwarts, Baldur's Gate, Resident Evil 4. It's you name it. It is an insane year. There's only one year that was like where you could argue that can compete with this year, and that is was it 2007?
Possibly.
I think that the year where we had like Halo, Mass Effect, Gears. You know, there was this one year, Fable, not Gears, Fable. What was that? When did Mass Effect come out, man?
God, that's a while
2007, exactly. 2007. It was also like an insane year. You had BioShock that year. You had Crysis. You had Halo 3, Mass Effect, Half-Life 2, Episode 2 in one year. God of War 2 came out. Command and Conquer 3, Stalker. That was like the first Assassin's Creed and the first Witcher in one year.
Yeah.
So 2007, man, was also an insane year for video games, and that's probably also is the only year that can rival 2023.
Yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal for gamers this year. So, yeah, it's tough to balance all of that in. So,
It is.
yeah, Final Fantasy 16, gonna buy that in the first sale.
Yeah.
When it's on sale. Sea of Stars, gonna be my ally game.
Yeah.
Definitely need to start that. And then now we have like Alan Wake.
I started Sea of Stars before Starfield come out. Fantastic game. Like, the music, the atmosphere, the gameplay, they've absolutely nailed it. I know Vin's 100% of that game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to it. It's one game that I put on hold. I was like, I definitely want to come back and play this because I was absolutely loving it. So well done. It doesn't look like it's like an uber long game either, so which is good. Story's good. Characters are cool. So I'm looking forward to diving back into it. But Starfield, of which it was one of the topics, but we'll just slice it in here because we've spoke so much about it anyway. Hit 10 million plus players now. 10 million plus. Which is the
last week, or was that already? Yeah. It's probably even higher now.
Yeah. It's the most successful Bethesda game launch in their history.
See what Game Pass can do, man.
Yep.
I mean, this is... Listen, not taking away anything from that number. 10 million is, in the first 2 weeks, like, awesome. Not many games achieved that, not even with Game Pass. Absolutely. Yeah. But of course, the question really is how many of those 10 million actually like played the game in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
Because we see that a lot with those Game Pass titles. Yeah. Forza is gonna have be the same. Yeah, they will report like an insane amount of gamers in the first week or so, because why not? Everyone's downloading it.
Yeah.
Everyone's checking it out. But if the history is any track record, I'm gonna play it for 2 hours. Like I bought Forza 7 and played it for 2 hours, and then sim racers, man, gorgeous to look at. And then booting up Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
That's a game I play a lot for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you know what I mean with the Game Pass numbers. You kind of have to. How many of those are really playing the game? And then on the other hand, like, my timeline is still full with the love for Starfield.
Yeah.
And how long is the game out now? Almost 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And that
now
I feel
you're
like
starting to see different kinds of stuff. At first, it was loads of scenery photos and stuff like that. Now I've got a timeline full of people building mega bases and these huge outposts on like random planets, or people. I saw one today with kind of playing dominoes with tons of different items. So there would stacked up tons of books standing up in a row going down the stairs and in a big circle and everything like that, and they knocked it all down from the top of the football. I was like, people are just doing so many random creative things on this game now.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of content I'm starting to see now from the Starfield community.
Yeah, but you still see the content.
Yeah.
Like, tell me, there are not many games.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you know, in the first couple of days after a major game comes out, you usually see everyone like, ooh, like Diablo is out or Baldur's Gate is out. And then a week or two after launch, it kind of dies off, you know. Some going back to the console war shit, and others go back to posting, you know, mental health memes or whatever. And then and this is different with Starfield. Like, literally, my Twitter timeline is full of people playing it, talking about it, and I feel like that is a really good indicator for engagement of the community. People really enjoy playing it. Of course, now we're gonna see, like, with Cyberpunk coming out, Starfield being out for 4 weeks already, almost 4 weeks, counting early access as well, of course. Of course, you will see people now move on to other games, but this is still going to be played a lot. And I think, that's the special thing about this game, you know?
Yeah.
And to this day, when you go on Twitch, people play Skyrim, you know? And I feel like that this kind of longevity can only be found in very, very few games. And Bethesda RPGs are definitely one of them. And Starfield is a very good one.
Yeah.
A very, very good one. And one of the best.
Yeah. 100%. Completely agree. I will move on to our next topic. And I'm going to switch back over to ourselves for a moment here. Because, of course, part of the trial that is the ongoing merger and acquisition of Activision Blizzard, Microsoft made a little boo-boo, and they uploaded documents to
a little boo-boo.
A little boo-boo. They uploaded some very important documents to public, which have been rescinded now, but they did upload them for the FTC, who, of course, put them on to the public area where everybody could see them, and it dictated essentially their plans going forward for consoles, for handhelds, for the refreshes, for you name it. They put it up. So let's have a look at what was unveiled. So this is a refresh console first and foremost, and that was named or codenamed Brooklyn, the Xbox Series X refresh. Of course, Brooklyn was, it says, the most powerful Xbox ever, now adorably all digital. So it's an all digital Series X, and it looks more cylinder shaped, which is strange. But without a disk drive, they'll probably be able to redo that.
May I say something on that? Because
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people like spending an hour in podcasts talking about, oh, why is it cylindrical shape now? I would place a bet right now, honestly, that this is no way the thing how it looks. Nobody is placing the original picture, not even for management slides, in these kind of presentations.
Yeah.
You always put in like a dummy, a fake holder. I work for a car company. We never put, not even for board of management meetings, we put in pictures of the final product. Never, ever. We always use these kind of 3D renderings of a random car or something you put in to explain what's going on.
Yeah.
It's no way. I'm not saying that it might not have a crazy shape or something, but I would place a bet right here that this is not the way how it looks. This is for internal presentation to give an idea. Okay, it's gonna look different than the one we have.
Yeah.
And that's all that is. That is a cheap, simple rendering that is used for internal presentations and nothing else. This is no way the way how this is gonna look like. But please continue, man. I interrupted you.
It's okay. So just to go through what it says on screen, at least anyway, Brooklyn will deliver 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, and more immersive controller, and beautiful redesign that elevates all digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem. Updated technologies, the all-new Southbridge to modernize the I/O and sustainability efforts, Wi-Fi 6E radio for better throughput, latency, and interface mitigation, Bluetooth 5.2 radio for improved accessory experiences, so it helps with the sync of headsets and controllers, etc., and a 6 nanometer die shrink for improved efficiency, giving our fans more love. Beautiful and innovative new design, more internal storage for games, it's 2 terabits, a USB-C front port with power delivery, and all new more immersive controller. Same great price, $499, and improved sustainability, reduced power PSU by 15%. New low power standby mode is 20% off of current XSS standby mode. Increased use of power PCR on housing less than 30%, and 100% recyclable packaging. Woohoo!
Especially the last part, man. Woo!
Woo! It's exactly what fans want. For me, and we'll get into the controller next, that is one of the standouts there. One of the other benefits
Hang on, should we briefly talk about that?
Yes, yeah, definitely. We're going to, because that's the next slide, the controller. So we're going to dive into that.
Yeah, no, I mean the console.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Before we move on to the controller.
Yes. For me, the 2 big points, I think, for here, outside of the Wi-Fi 6E and the Bluetooth 5.2, which is great, is the increased storage, first of all, to 2 terabit, which is a major plus point. Personally, I'm an all-digital person anyway. I've got the Series X sitting right there, but I can see myself getting an all-digital Series X for the big telly and using the Series S elsewhere. I'm an old digi guy. Like, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna use anything other than that. So I'd rarely buy anything that requires disc or a disc in general. I think changing from USB-A to USB-C as well will help with quicker charging of devices. Granted, they've got USB-C into the controller, but a USB-A connectivity to start with isn't always the best. USB-C to USB-C is going to be speeding that process up again, and have again a more lag-free wired experience if you are playing wired. But I also think, again, when we're looking at the 6nm die, that is also should theoretically in the future help with the costings of this. If it's starting out with 499, that's 450 for us guys. We should see the price drop on the all digital much quicker than we would have seen before because of the shrink on the die. Wi-Fi 6E, great. It's already got relatively good Wi-Fi connectivity to the console. It is pretty speedy, and I mean,
wouldn't know. I only use wired connection, so
it's far quicker on wireless on the Xbox than it is on PlayStation. It just is. I don't know why that is. It's always been the case. So to have them now get the Wi-Fi 6, which is what PlayStation 5 has anyways, is great. So it's good to see that, or Wi-Fi 6E. And of course, everyone had issues or has had issues with connectivity of the syncing things to the console. Can sometimes be a bit of a pain. Sometimes it works first time. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries. Hopefully the better and more increased or improved Bluetooth really helps with that. What's your overall impressions of the leaked refresh?
So, well, let's call it what it is. It's a slim. Yeah, we have had that in every generation. Since the PS2 era, we had slims. Halfway through the generation, you get a slim, smaller die, brings down the manufacturing costs, of course. You get a little bigger hard drive, which is in there, and maybe USB or Wi-Fi update or something like that. This is slim.
Yeah.
It's basically the slim. If you really need the disk drive, there's still the non-slim, the current Series X out there. No issues with that. I get it from a collector's point of view. I don't want to say like get into the digital age for those who just are collectors. That's cool.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that that's only a very small percentage. I have never once used my disk drive on my Xbox One or One X.
Yeah.
Let alone the Series X. My last, I honestly don't know what was my last physical game. I can tell you my first digital game was Far Cry 3 on the 360. And ever since, I'm an all digital guy and I don't look back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the space, honestly, to store all these discs. I don't know how people do it. But yeah, this is a slim, and it. I don't know how you feel about that. It really looks like they are not doing the mid-gen refresh upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pro.
Not on the power front.
X.
Not on the power front. Yeah,
not on the power front. Again, this is a slim. This is not the mid-gen upgrade. And
it's more like what
for me, the most interesting thing about this is really that fact, because we know it really everything points towards PlayStation having releasing a Pro next year, and that means we also learned that, and I think you will get to that a little later, about the next gen consoles.
Yeah.
They're gonna start around 28, which is really not surprising. 8-year console cycles are the thing and the norm now. We had that during the 360 days. We had it during the 1 day. So obviously expected around 28, you will get the next gen. And that means that Xbox will fall behind the power narrative for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. If PlayStation can bring out a enhanced console with more power. And since we are talking about 24, and assuming they will stick, that Sony also will stick, of course, for compatibility reason with AMD, we are talking here about Zen 4 CPUs and at least RDNA 3, if not RDNA 4. And probably even Zen 5 CPUs, honestly.
Yeah.
And with that, they will get like really a power advantage, and games will just look and run better on PlayStation for 4 years. And I'm not sure if that's a wise choice on Microsoft's end. I'm really not sure, because they started this generation with the power narrative. It was their selling points, the world's most powerful console. And Xbox customers didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Now even Cyberpunk again. Yeah. Performance according to Digital Foundry, more stable on PlayStation. We are at this point where, Microsoft then falls behind.
Yeah.
And I'm all for the games, and obviously that was their biggest issue for the most part of this generation so far, that they didn't have games. Now, up until Starfield, we had only 2 major AAA releases with Forza Horizon 5 and Halo in almost 3 years that were meaningful. There have been the Red fails, and there have been smaller releases like Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment and Grounded. But those were admittedly not the games that are system sellers, and are the big blockbusters. And they didn't have those games for almost 3 years, it was September now when Starfield came out, and in November, the Series X turns 3 years old. So their biggest problem were the games, and that's going to change. That's absolutely going to change now. We know that their pipeline is almost bursting with great games. We get Forza in a few days. And then we have Avowed and Hellblade coming. We have Towerborn coming. We have Stalker coming. Games are rolling in. That's not a problem anymore. But then, of course, the question is, you already have lost this generation even worse than you lost the last generation in terms of market share so far. And if you fall behind the power narrative for another 4 years in a meaningful way, I don't know. I don't know, honestly, if that's a good choice to not do the hardware upgrade. Because, it just goes along in this day and age that people compare that. And especially the hardcore gamers have usually multiple systems. And then you have PC. The PC is so far ahead now already. And all those games come out on PC anyway. And PlayStation is then gonna win every comparison of Digital Foundry. And I don't know, and the others that do the tech comparisons. So I get why you have a Slim. I'm not saying that this has no right to exist. On the contrary, it makes sense, obviously, to do like the minor upgrades, bigger storage, better Wi-Fi, stuff like that. But at the very end of the day, I have the Series X. A terabyte is more than enough for me. I'm not the kind of guy that installs 20,000 games that I don't play. I have like 3-4 games installed at the same time. The games that are currently on my playlist, and 1 or 2 evergreens, and that's it. So for me personally, I don't see a reason why to invest another $500+ bucks. This is probably from the leaks. They said it's gonna be $499, but that was before the price hike of the base Series X. So it's gonna be around that price point, $500, $550. For me, that's not. I don't feel the need to have this. And spend that kind of money. So I'm just gonna stick with my Series X. And of course, for everyone that comes new into the ecosystem, this is the console to buy. Obviously, it's the better version. Just saying that the upgrades, for me personally, don't justify like investing the money again. And then and then at the same time there's this PS5 Pro coming. So I don't know how you feel about that, bro.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because specifically for the PS5 Pro, unlike Microsoft with official leaks, the only thing we've seen from PS5 Pro is fans putting random, unrealistic things on paper and sharing them out as if it's fact. So, as it stands right now, and even Digital Foundry said themselves, Microsoft need to be starting to have words with some of these third parties because realistically, they do have the most powerful console. And there is leg room for them to stretch out using that console, but they're not. None of them are doing it. And if that is the case, and again, a lot of these third parties have these terms and conditions where they have to have technical parity between consoles, which means that they have to have the same features, they have to be pretty much using the same power, etc., etc. So you might get different results using the same power than you would if one was using its a little bit more legroom. You'll probably then have the issue with the technical parity then go into effect for PlayStation.
I mean, this is really a difficult discussion for a third-party publisher. Now, put yourself in their shoes. You are EA, and we're talking, I don't know, let's take the next FIFA, or what is it now called?
FC.
Whatever.
FC.
So, you look at the console situation. There are multiple factors you have to factor in. First is, you're gonna invest the time and money to like get everything out of the Series X that it has to offer, and it has to offer more, substantially more than the PlayStation. So the game's gonna run better on Xbox. What will the PlayStation fans say? That there will be an outcry. Whoa, fuck, EA. Yeah, they screwed us PlayStation fans over. They didn't optimize for it, whatever. Yeah, that's the one narrative you have to control. So from that point of view, you kind of want more or less parity on the consoles. You don't want that situation where one fan base cries over the other. That's the one thing. Then the other thing is you look at the install base. Yeah, and we have like the situation again where outside of the US, Xbox simply does not have a substantial, meaningful install base. And then you look at the Xbox ecosystem in itself, and you have to optimize for 2 SKUs, do double the work for a third or half of the install base than you have on the PlayStation side. Yeah, it costs you extra money, time, capacity to do that. And what do you get out of it? What do you get out of it to invest a lot of money and time and resources into optimizing for Xbox to make the game look a little bit better? You might risk a fanboy war on socials. And that's what I always say. Yeah, if it was vice versa, and Xbox had double, in some markets triple the amount of install base than over Sony. Yeah. It would be at least more incentivizing for those publishers and developers to invest the time and money, because that's the system where you sell the most copies, and to optimize for that a little bit more. Yeah, you would have something, a reason to do that.
I think what I'm kind of getting to is more just even if Sony had the Pro version, which was more powerful, like Xbox has right now, they'd be restricted by technical parity anyway, and you'd only see PS5 Pro coming into its own or its force on its first party because of that. Xbox has its restrictions where it's held back, and they're not using or utilizing the full length of its power right now because of technical parity. And if PlayStation were to have that, regardless of their market position, technical parity still exists for both platforms, which means, and they both have these contracts in place. So even if Sony did have a huge advantage with its console having a pro version, I don't think you'd fully see that utilized with third party anyway because of technical parity restrictions. So you'd only see it on the first party thing, and then of course Sony's first party need to pick up their game anyway, because we've seen what's going on with that at the moment, and it's almost non-existent. Like there's nothing happening. And again,
Yep.
like The Last of Us Day, which was at today or yesterday or something, and they were just all they did was show merch. No, they were like, we're not showing any games or videos for the next season of Last of Us. Nothing. Nope. Nada. Then they had a showcase the other week. That was just third party and indies.
I mean, that's it. Again, it's a different conversation to be had. And I know that it ties together.
Yeah.
I also feel like the content pipeline of PlayStation is really not as good as it was during the PlayStation 4 days.
Nope.
Absolutely not. There's absolutely no argument about that. We have a bunch of games as a service titles that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
We have this one game that everyone looks forward to this year with Spider-Man 2, and after that, we have nothing. Nothing to look forward to. Wolverine is not gonna come out for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. We're not gonna be playing anything meaningful next year on PlayStation in terms of exclusives.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you will still be able to play all the third-party games in a better version. And I know that there is a big amount of people that will not care. Mid-gen upgrades are more. I feel like mid-gen upgrades are more like for the hardcore fan base.
Yeah, and
the average Joe.
Yeah.
The average Joe just wants to play Fortnite and the next Call of Duty, and as long as it runs and can be played on that console, they're not gonna bother. So mid-gen upgrades are for us diehard fans, but us diehard fans are not that few as we think we are. Yeah, it's obviously 80% or so of the PlayStation console gamers are the casuals. Yeah. But there's still a significant amount of people, and they are very vocal about gaming, and they also do the mouth-to-mouth propaganda. They do the commercial, like us posting about Xbox on Twitter is more marketing than Xbox does itself, you know? And so this is the thing. Yeah. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I just see that not having a power lead, if Sony comes out in 24, assuming that, of course, right now, yeah, if they come out and have a more significant, more or a meaningful hardware upgrade, like, yeah, and you stay that way for the rest of this entire generation, not sure if that's a good idea.
Yeah. No,
but it seems that that's the decision that Microsoft has made. I'm not saying that this is bad for the platform. I just don't know the impact. Maybe it's just me wanting a mid-gen upgrade.
Yeah.
I want that. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I want it. But eventually, of course, the games will sell the system.
Yeah.
And the pipeline of Microsoft is significantly more exciting than PlayStation's pipeline.
Yeah. Speaking of something that is getting a mid-gen refresh, though, the controller.
That's what I'm excited about, man. I like it. I love it.
I'm not sure about the two-tone,
also
and I hope the two-tone isn't sticking around.
Again, this is like a principal mock-up you use in presentations. You never put the final product in these presentations. That's not how this controller will look eventually. No way. Just like with the console. This is like they called the intern at the at the graphics department and said, dude, we need a different looking controller for presentation. And bam, there you got your image. And that's what this is. This is how it works in these companies, man.
Yeah.
It's not the final product. Yeah. So, but my point is, I really like what they did with that.
Yeah.
Mainly two things. The first being, of course, the haptics.
Yes.
I don't like the PlayStation 5 controller that much. I don't like the symmetric sticks. It just feels like I'm getting cramps in my hands when I play for more than 2 hours. It's not for me. But I really do like the haptics of the vibrations and stuff. And they picked out the best part of it. Yeah. They left the sticks alone. You don't need that. But you have the trigger thing and the haptic feedback in the overall controller. And I do love that. And I hope that this means that more games will be using it, because so far Sony is the only controller out there. And of course, it doesn't make that much sense, again, for developers to implement it properly, especially if you're a third-party developer, because you have only a small install base, and on PC and Xbox, you won't be able to use it. So them having that too only can mean that there's better reason for more developers to actually make use of it.
Yeah.
So absolutely fantastic, man. I love that. And it might be a minor thing, but I really do like that you have like rechargeable but swappable like battery packs.
Yep.
That's really cool, man. Always how I said they should do it. And yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm genuinely excited for that.
Also, if you haven't seen there, it has modular thumbsticks, which means they can be replaced.
Do you think they finally listened and go to the Hall sensor stick thing?
You never know. You never know. Or they're going down more of the kind of pro. I wouldn't say pro route, but as you see them with the PlayStation Pro controller, how they've got modular sticks that can be replaced if they need repaired. Maybe they've got an easier modular version of that can just be pop and put that one in. If so much needs it. Or if it's modular, i.e. you can buy different size sticks and things for the regular controller, and you can just go plop, plop, put that in. That would be cool as well. But the fact that they've got the modular thumbsticks in there, they've also mentioned it's easier to repair and disassemble, which is good, of course, for people who want to clean the controllers and make sure that there's no stick drift and things like that. As you've mentioned, the rechargeable and swappable battery. It's one thing we said that they should do, especially when you're buying a console at first. It should come with the play and charge kit immediately.
Yes.
Not batteries with a console. Like, I can understand if you give batteries with just a controller you're buying out the box. Fine. But the one that comes with your console should come with the play and charge kit.
Yeah.
Really should.
Agree.
With a couple of cool features I've added here is the Play Anywhere thing for the controller, which is the direct to cloud and the improved Bluetooth on the controller. And Xbox Wireless 2, which is their own direct interface. So, of course, that means easily connect to mobile, TVs, any cloud device, your PC, or the console, and it should be pretty seamless on that front as well.
What do you think about the direct to cloud thing?
I mean, they're obviously still pushing it, and they've got. If you have a look at who they're paid with, if you're talking about the likes of LG and Samsung, and they're really pushing those apps and features to get games on those TVs, I think that's where it's really based. So it's a lot more seamless, and it's a lot less lag when you're playing on cloud via a TV. I think that's really what it's for. Maybe it's even a little bit better for direct to cloud on mobile as well. And as you've seen underneath, it does say new mobile app features. So there's obviously a few more there that we don't know of that they're going to be doing, but that's certainly an interesting one. And as you've mentioned as well before, the immersion side, so haptic feedback, VCA haptics, which double up as speakers, and an accelerometer. And of course, people are happy that they've got quieter buttons and thumbsticks. Although I don't personally think that these are the loudest ones
I have never thought about it, honestly. Before I read that, I have never thought about, oh, my buttons make too much of a clicky noise or something.
Like, having played, like, if anybody's ever owned a Razer Wolverine or anything like that, you realize those controllers are more like PC buttons, so they've got a noticeable click, like a mouse click when you're using the buttons. That is what you would class as loud. Loud buttons. These are more like plastic hitting plastic when you're using the buttons on a controller. You can hear like tick 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 tick, click clack 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 clack. But it's not overly loud in comparison to like if you're a PC gamer, for instance, and you're tapping away on your keyboard or clicking a mouse. That's loud. So I don't know whether or not maybe they've just had a better way of transference of the noise, or maybe it's the rubber that they're using underneath the buttons for the touchpad is a little bit more absorbent of that noise, so it doesn't make so much racket. But it's a nice little touch, I suppose. And also a nice little touch, lift to wake. So as soon as you pick your controller up, it turns on. When you place your controller down, it goes to sleep.
I hope you can turn that off.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I move my controller around a lot. I don't want the console to turn on that way.
I think it's more for instance, if you go into the kitchen, put your controller down for a moment, it notices because of its accelerometer that it isn't being used, it's not in somebody's hands. Then it just turns to sleep to save the battery. And you come back, once you've got your drink, you pick it back up again, it wakes back up again.
So you don't think it turns on the console?
No, I don't think, because that's a separate feature entirely. That's HDMI CEC. So you can turn HDMI CEC off if you want to. So if I turn the controller on, then it'll turn the Xbox console on. If your console isn't on, I don't think it'll turn the console on. I think it's only if the console is on, it'll have a little sleep timer on it. So if it's not being used for a certain amount of time, it'll go to sleep. And if you pick it back up again, it'll wake back up again.
We shall see, man.
Yep.
We shall see.
And it's the same ergonomics as Merlin, whatever that is, unless that means Merlin as in the Elite controller, or was Merlin just the standard Series SX controller. And it's the same layout and activation forces. But overall, I'm happy that they're eventually upgrading the controller to have these new added features. I'm glad they're adding in haptics and the VCA haptics. I'm not quite sure about the speakers. I was never overly fond of speakers on the PlayStation controller.
Me neither. Actually, it kind of annoyed me in some games.
Yeah.
Like Days Gone, when you picked up like a note or something, and you heard the note through the speaker on the controller, it's just annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few ones that sounded okay. Like in God of War, it was like the jingle of the sled that you had on the... That was okay. On Horizon, it is when you access your hollow thing. Then you get that popping up on your controller. Or I think when you use a bow, it also has a noise on the controller.
But I would probably still turn it off.
Yeah. And again, those are good things you can do. So, yeah, again, it's all options, it's all additional, it's all things that people requested. I think one of the biggest things that people will be happy with outside of the haptics will be the modular thumbsticks, being able to easily replace them or change them out, potentially even look at changing them to different types of sticks, etc. I think that'll be cool. That is if that stays the way it is, and that is how it turns out. But we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
We shall indeed. We shall indeed.
Next.
All right. What else do we get? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we had the full breakdown of the Series X, and in XDL, the Series X and the Series S. So it tells you all the kind of things that go along with it there, and it's again not too dissimilar from each other. Series X has also got Wi-Fi 6E, so they've already got it. So unless they all the refresh actually judging by that, all when they release the X Series X and XDL with the 2 terabit, the all digital version, they'll all upgrade the Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi 6E and the Bluetooth to Bluetooth 5.2, which I've only just noticed.
Yeah.
So everything on the connectivity front for all models of Xboxes released next year, when the new digital one launches, all of the new models of those consoles will release with improved connectivity. So the wireless 2, Bluetooth 5.2, Wi-Fi 6E, and the additional USB-Cs on both the Series X and the Series X and XDL. It's going to be interesting. And look, judging by that, the regular Series X is going to get a 2 terabit model, which I've only just noticed. Interesting. Let's have a look here. So yes, to be fair, there's not much extra there. Then it talks about the controllers, Sebel and Ingrain. Yeah, nothing additional there. Let's go to that Xbox Gaming Beat. So Sebel announced in FY24 Q4. So I do believe yes, Sebel is the controller. So that will release in May 24. So we've got to all the way till May 24 for that controller to launch. $70. And they've got Xbox Gaming Beat in June. I'm guessing that means the showcase, judging by that. And on that FY24 going into 25 July, they're talking about the mid-gen console announcements. Elwood and Brooklyn announced simultaneously. Whatever Elwood and Brooklyn is, I would imagine Elwood is the refreshed Series S and Brooklyn is the refreshed Series X. Now, we don't know what the refreshed Series S is going to be or what additional features that'll have. So I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one, or what it looks like. You're muted as well.
Ah, sorry.
It's okay.
Probably similar things like the Series X upgrade.
Do you think they'll ditch the
Wi-Fi?
Do you think on the Series S refresh, considering they're going with a new style like they are with the X, which they've mentioned they're going to change the style up of it, are they going to get rid of the giant vent on top of the Series S?
I don't think so. I think they will stick with that motherboard split, and with that they are basically bound to that cooling
Oh no,
system.
the Series S, sorry, not the X. The Series S refresh.
Oh.
Otherwise known as Elwood.
I don't think so. I think the Series S is already pretty slim. And this is basically just a cost reduction for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one
I
thing
don't
they
think
could
so.
do from a visual perspective is it could make it look a little bit more like what the One S looked like originally, or what the One X looked like. Now, you have to imagine both the One X and the One S. But the One X had that kind of mesh side. It was like a split on one side, mesh, but it was all in one. So it was a bit more flat to it. Whether or not they kind of change it so it's not like a sticking out section of that looks like a speaker, and it's kind of more flat, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing on that side. Maybe it's all one color as opposed to, obviously the all black one is all one color. It's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. The white one though has got this giant black vent. Whether or not they sort that out or sort that front of it out, sort where the heat escapes, etc. on it, you never know. It's things about more aesthetics.
You never know. We shall see.
Yeah. But yes, those two launch. So they've said Elwood will launch in August 25. Or no, August 24, sorry.
Fiscal year.
Yeah.
Fiscal year.
August 24 for Elwood, which is a Series S refresh, and October 24 for Brooklyn, which is a Series X refresh. It says a 60 plus day separation between launches to enable dialogue with different audiences. Allows us to focus on improvements in Sebile, tell stories beyond console DTC. Adds value to Brooklyn and Elwood at announce. Gives Elwood its own moment earlier in the holiday timeframe to maximize sales. And Last Chance Edith 512 at $199 Black Friday offer. So that would be the original Series S going on to a $199 offer. Now, bloody hell, if that is going to be the case.
That's a steal.
Yeah, pick them up.
Man.
Pick many of them up. Get your house full of them.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Being able to play games like Hellblade next year, and by that time, Hellblade is out.
Yeah.
I still stick with my theory that it's gonna come in the first half next year, and then you have Avowed on the horizon and others. Man, that's exciting. An exciting price point.
Yep. Then they've got Starkville End of Life ahead of Brooklyn launch. And Brooklyn arrives just in time for gifting season, but separate from Elwood. And that is the leak. Now, additional in the leaks was, of course, the thing that Microsoft expect Red Dead Redemption to release next. Not the Red Dead Redemption. Ignore that. GTA 6 to release next year. That is as far as they are aware. GTA 6 is launching next year, and that was another one of the leaks that they had on the FTC documents. So,
I mean, that's the thing about these leaks. The hardware side is the one thing. I mean, but even more exciting are basically the game leaks.
Yeah.
GTA 6 being one of them, of course, but also basically the entire Bethesda roadmap leak.
Yes, yeah. I forgot to bring that up. But yes, it did. The entire Bethesda roadmap leaked. And Indiana Jones is closer than we think.
Yes.
Indiana Jones could be a next year game.
Can you imagine next year we have Hellblade? Let's say April.
Yeah.
Maybe May. Yeah. Then we have like the holiday filled with Avowed and with Indiana Jones. And then you sprinkle in like Towerbond in between, and super early in the year, like January, February, you have Stalker.
Yeah.
What an amazing year for Xbox exclusives, man.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I'm gonna have to try. So we'll ditch that off for now. Gonna have to try and put the whilst I'm mucking about in the background here. Gonna have to try and find that Bethesda leak, because that was quite a substantial one as well. That was quite amusing. See if I can find it. I'll do that in the background here.
Absolutely. I mean, is it while you do that?
Yeah.
What do you think now over all of these leaks? I mean, I'm still torn. You know, on the one side, for me as a gamer, for us as gamers here in the community, it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, basically, we know what's coming, at least on the hardware side. We know what their a little bit more future plans are. I think we're going to talk about the next gen as well, right?
Yeah.
their plans for next gen. But on the other hand, you called it a little boo-boo,
Yeah.
but honestly, man,
yeah.
I feel kind of bad for them. It's not just that it's out now. Sony knows their plans. They know basically how to react to those kind of things. And obviously things gonna change, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing is settled in stone until it's out. Things can change last minute.
Yeah.
No doubt, but they're also not gonna shake out of nowhere now a mid-gen hardware upgrade. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, you have like lead times of 3-4 years to that. So if it's not in the roadmap now, you can't do that. You can't also like bring out suddenly a game, a AAA major game that no one knows, about. So it's just not possible. So for the most part, we know, and things will change definitely from those plans. Phil tweeted it out. Yeah, we are excited to share the real plans, but it kind of felt more like damage controlling.
Yeah.
It's a shame, man. For a lot of people, this was hard work to put that pipeline together, to have a proper roadmap, to have a plan, a strategy. And now that all being leaked, it's kind of sad for them. It's super fun and interesting to see for us gamers, man. So yeah.
So to go into it then. So the leaked up until 2024 games, so every project that they've got in the works up until 24. So far, the Indiana Jones game, which was originally slated for 2022, obviously we know that was delayed, so that'll be potentially next year. Oblivion Remaster. Now, I know that's a favorite of yours.
It is. Love Oblivion. But then, pardon me. The thing is, if it's just like a remaster, not being done much, kind of like the Quake thing, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
To get that, and I think it was a super fair price point. Yeah, selling that out for $10.
Yeah.
Perfect. But it was really just the basic remaster of a remaster,
Yeah.
And I'd rather see Oblivion being. I mean, Oblivion runs at 60 already. It has the FPS boost. You have the resolution bump. The 16 times anisotropic filtering is phenomenal in that game. Yeah, the textures really look different now. So they kind of got to do a little bit more now to make this really exciting. But yeah, still Oblivion, phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Love to revisit it, man.
And of course, all these are in Game Pass.
What else is on the list?
Elder Scrolls Online expansion, as always. Starfield DLC, we already know about because, of course, we've already got that with our premium editions. Doom
Basically,
Year
we
Zero.
bought it already.
Yeah. Doom Year Zero.
Now that's what we're talking here. Here we're talking, man.
Yeah. The start
Developed
of Doom.
The It 8 engine, bro.
Yes. Doom Year Zero and DLC. Then we have a couple of projects.
I know a lot of people said, hang on one.
Yeah.
Let's stick with it. The thing is, I've seen a lot of people say, damn, the Quake reboot is not going to happen. It's Doom that they are working on. Everyone was assuming they are working on a Quake reboot and give Quake the treatment that they did with Doom 18,
yeah.
17. So how you feel about that, man? Or could they potentially have a second team?
Now you see, this is because there's a couple of them that leaked but don't have actual names to them. There's still projects, so we don't know. So you've got Doom Year Zero, of course. That already excites me anyway because that sounds like a prequel. how Doom started, what actually was the beginning, the first year, like the how did it all start kind of Doom. And that's going to be an interesting game to play. So I'm looking
Oh
forward to
yeah.
that. But then we've also got underneath that Project Kestrel and Project Platinum, which are again
I
untitled
mean,
games. We don't know.
we
And
don't
they,
know. We don't know the studio. So there are multiple
yeah,
candidates here. Honestly, we know that ZeniMax Online is working on a new AAA IP
yeah,
for years, actually, like 6 years now. Also,
yeah.
they are working on a new AAA IP. Then we have
And we know they're not external IPs either, because further down the list it states um essentially something along those lines. The further down the list, one of them is licensed IP game,
mm,
which is separate from Indiana Jones, which is a licensed
you
IP
know,
game.
our good friend, the good guesser, special Nick,
Yeah,
recently said that it's going to be a Star Wars IP.
yeah, I thought that as well.
Could be. I mean, pop culture IP is what they are lacking.
Yeah,
It would make sense. EA doesn't have the exclusivity rights to the Star Wars license anymore. So, could be. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But we also don't know what Tango Gameworks is working on, because Hi-Fi Rush was not their main game. Hi-Fi Rush was a passion side project.
yeah,
They're working on something else. They Evil Within 3. It's the first that comes to mind, of course, but who knows? So yeah, and we still have no idea what the heck is going on with Wolfenstein 3.
yep, yep. So underneath that, to tail off the list, we have Elder Scrolls 6, as we all know, Project Kestrel Expansion, licensed IP game, Fallout 3 Remaster, another Elder Scrolls expansion, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, Dishonored 3, and Doom Year Zero DLC.
I'm telling you, man, seeing that list is just proving my point. Bethesda was for us gamers a better purchase than ABK.
Yep.
It's just what it is. With ABK, we're getting Call of Duty, and every 10 years, a new Blizzard game with Diablo or something. And that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. And now you look at that roadmap, but man, they're killing it. Like Indiana Jones, Elder Scrolls 6, Dishonored 3, the new Doom, new licensed IP, maybe Star Wars, yeah, rumored to be Star Wars, and so on. If you look at that roadmap, man, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that. Thinking about a Call of Duty every year, yeah, I'm gonna have fun with the 5-hour campaign every year, but that's it.
Yeah. So licensed IP game's very interesting. Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, that's nice to see. It's obviously well received and they're happy with it. So Dishonored 3 is cool. I couldn't care less about any of these Elder Scrolls expansions.
Yeah, well, I mean, the game is played by millions.
It is, yeah. It's more.
It
and
was
more
actually
popular
my
every
last MMO I played. I stopped playing. I was big into MMOs before I had kids, man.
Yeah.
And MMOs is basically what I gave up when I had kids and my gaming time got reduced significantly. And Elder Scrolls was the last MMO I played. We didn't have any DLC at the time. It was just base game, and I mean, it was a good one. It is a good one. I have no doubt. Just I don't have the time to get into MMOs now, but it is. I think Elder Scrolls, along with Final Fantasy 14 and then World of Warcraft, are still the most important MMOs out there. So, yeah, it's good that they support it that way. Keep it alive. People are always excited.
Yep. Yep. So it's yeah, big leak list. Again, we knew Indiana Jones was there. We knew the Starfield DLC. Oblivion remaster's cool. Let's see what that looks like. But again, all of this is Game Pass. Doom Year Zero is probably the one that I'm more hyped about on that list, because that just the thought of playing a Doom that's set essentially on Emergence Day, which is like the Gears 1. To see how it all kicked off and started. That I think that would be a cool story to play for Doom. Yeah, very interesting. And then obviously licensed IP game,
Absolutely.
whatever that is. Big leaks.
Definitely. And we need to talk about next gen and the other things that are on that roadmap.
Yes. So I mean, there wasn't much about next gen on there, to be honest, apart from the fact that they are forecasting next gen to be 2028.
Oh, there was plenty on there. Yeah, like focus on machine learning, AI-based upscaling
Oh, wait a moment.
technologies,
Here we
stuff
go.
like that.
Yes, got it now. Yeah. Oh,
Bring it up, man. Bring it up.
not only that, but a one-handed controller and mobile controller.
Exactly.
So yes,
You're gonna put it on screen?
I'm going to attempt to.
You're gonna attempt to. See, that's what's happening if you take such a long vacation from podcasting. There we go.
Woo!
All right.
This is from MSN. Woohoo! Yeah, Microsoft plans for next generation hybrid game platform leaked by Microsoft. Even more information has been leaked on Microsoft's next gen console plans, a new hybrid device aiming for 2028 launch. So yeah, each generation of Xbox has also brought new innovations to Microsoft. And it says next gen 2028 cloud hybrid games, immersive game and app platform.
Yeah, they talk about how the market growth and so on. Do you have that specs, or well, it's not a spec slide, but a feature slide?
It's not on there. Let's see if I can find it.
So basically, what was on there is, of course, again, to talk about it being like having cloud support again.
Yeah.
And I feel like that storyline is a little burned. You can't. I mean, I know it's in 28. It's different. It will feel different. Yeah. When but everyone remembers like the good old Crackdown promises and things like that. You know what I mean? So I don't think that this is gonna be like big focus for them. And then they talked about basically what at least how I read it, about the feature set that NVIDIA cards have. You know, when you talk about machine learning based, hardware based machine learning, upscaling technologies, frame generation, stuff like that. It kind of felt to me like, okay, this is basically what NVIDIA has now on the market already in the PC space, but it is something interesting to think about. There were obviously no specs like what kind of processor, what kind of clock speeds or whatnot, anything like that. What's going to be the RAM and so on. But since it to me it read like, okay, this is what NVIDIA has been doing basically. It all obviously automatically came to my head. What if Microsoft changes their GPU towards an NVIDIA thing? And I mean, there are pros and cons. Back compat team will definitely have a lot to do if they do so. Nevertheless, when you look at the GPU space, NVIDIA is so far ahead. If we are honest, they are so far ahead. And I think that one big part in the next gen will absolutely be proper upscaling technologies. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will have FSR 4 by then in 28. DLSS, I don't know, 5 or 6. Yeah. And this will definitely be one big thing for the next gen thing. And if you look at other technologies that NVIDIA is just ahead right now in the game, yeah. If you're going for power again, if Microsoft tries to again go for the power narrative in the console space, it would be something to look into, man. I know it would be a little bit more complicated because NVIDIA. The good thing about AMD is that they also have the CPUs. That makes the APU design, the GPU and the CPU combined in one die,
Yeah.
a lot easier. Not having to share having a separated memory pool for video RAM and your regular RAM. Like that kind of design makes, of course, a lot of sense if you stick just with one manufacturer and you squeeze it all together into one chip and bam, you're done. I know it's a lot more work than that, but you know what I mean.
No, that's exactly how it is. It's just
they take their Zen 4 CPU and just squeeze it together with a good GPU, and then you go, bam, there you go. That's your APU. That's how chip design is done.
Yep.
But Nintendo does it.
Yep.
Yeah. Nintendo found a way to design an APU with an NVIDIA chip, still have a good. I don't know. They don't have a good CPU, but they have a CPU.
They have a CPU
at least. It's in there somewhere. You don't feel it when you play your games at 12 frames, but
it's not a new CPU.
There is the rumor that there is a CPU in there.
There is one.
It is a CPU.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. It would be something very interesting to see. It also would make the comparisons in between the consoles simply more interesting, to really see a difference in hardware design. So I don't know. It's probably not going to happen, but it's interesting to think about and seeing the few features that they mentioned. I have a hiccup here now. Damn it. If they the few features that they have shown on the slides, and admittedly the feature set is probably not set in stone. If they aim for 28, they're gonna. We've seen the roadmap. There was a timeline in there, yeah. So die freeze, so APU design freeze is probably somewhere in early 25. So they have another 1.5 years or so, and of course things will change. But it would be interesting to see, to really do something different, for consoles. And yeah, hey, if Nintendo does it, why should Microsoft do it, man?
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they do. Most definitely. Next up, though, and last topic for today is the Xbox Tokyo Game Show.
Oh.
And
interesting.
There's a few things that they announced here. So first of all, and I'm just going to run through the games list first, and then we'll talk about any ones that stand out here. Hotel Barcelona is a time-looping action horror game in collaboration between Hideki Sueri Suhiro and Goichi Suda. It's due on Xbox Series X and S at some point in 2024. It's a 2.5D slasher film production action. Hotel Barcelona. Also going to Game Pass. Octopath Traveler 2 is finally coming to Xbox.
I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah.
That was my personal highlight. I loved the first one.
Yeah.
You played the first one, right?
Yeah. I've got the first
phenomenal.
one on Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Nice, man.
Yeah, beautiful
If
game.
it would only have cross progression, right?
I know. Beautiful game, traditional JRPG, turn-based, how it should be.
Absolutely.
They took the time as well to announce a non-realistic track, or at least a track that isn't based on a realistic place for Forza, but it is based in Japan. So they announced a new track, a Japanese track. For some reason, they don't have it named on the list here. It's just Forza's Japan course got a turn in the spotlight. Although Hakone course. So it's not a real track, but it's a track that they've designed from scratch, based in Japan. So they showed that off. And a couple of other cars. So if you buy Forza, you also get the 2024 Chevrolet Corvette for use in Playground's Forza Horizon 5. Although people who play on Game Pass will also get the car. Fallout 76 expansion announced. Elder Scrolls Online is finally coming to Japan. That's a big one. Especially the fact that we know how much they're into MMOs. So we'll see how another MMO does in Japan alongside Final Fantasy XIV. So that's huge for Elder Scrolls.
It's huge, and it's going to be interesting to see because it will have two challenges. It's a Western RPG.
Yeah.
And they usually do have their struggles in Japan and the Asian market. And then it's also an older game. Yeah. It's not the brand new shiny thing. And everyone knows that usually it's kind of hard to get into an MMO like 5-6 years after it launches, and it already has like 20 DLCs and expansions, and you have no idea where to start now.
Yeah.
But it will definitely be interesting. So it will be interesting to see, and then I think it's a good move. It's the right sign to show commitment to the Japanese market, and yeah, gonna be interesting to see, man.
Yeah, 100%. It's very interesting to launch the MMO for the first time in Japan, to see how well it does, because it's come from, especially the state Elder Scrolls Online is now. They've got the full whack now, so that's going to be interesting. That's definitely going to be interesting. They've got the essential completed version of Elder Scrolls Online that runs well, looks great, plays great, has tons of expansions, has so much content that's coming out their ears. So yeah, they've got plenty to play when that launches in Japan. Big one as well. We're used to seeing these games on Nintendo Switch and others, but the Ace Attorney trilogy is coming to Game Pass, and I think Ace Attorney is coming to Xbox for the first time. I might be wrong, but I think so.
You might be right.
But that's a big one because people are big fans of that series. Not me in particular, but it is a popular series. So the trilogy comes to Game Pass for the first time on September 26th. So that's yesterday. So it's already there. For those who want to try it, it is available to download. Another indie game, Althea, The Wrath of Aphiri. Also coming out, I think, is next year. Euden Chronicles 100 Heroes eventually gets its release date. Eventually.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Eventually.
April
I'm looking forward to that,
24th.
man.
Yeah.
The last year's Ayuden Chronicles, I did not expect to enjoy it, and
Yeah.
I totally did. And it was a super fun little game. Doesn't take itself too serious, easy to get into,
Yeah.
and I had a blast playing that, man. So I'm looking forward to that one. I know it's going to be a little bit different, turn-based, and then this 2.5D kind of thing going on, and it's going to be different. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Same. So it's gonna. I can't wait for it, to be honest. It's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be such a cool
Yep.
game. And again, there's 100 playable characters in that game.
Hence, 100 heroes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that releases April 24th, 2024, directly into Game Pass. Cannot wait. Capcom's Exoprimal gets an update. Okay, fantastic. Infinity Strash Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai gets a new trailer. That's a Dragon Quest game, of course. And that releases on September 28th, so that's tomorrow. Like a Dragon, Gaiden, the man who raised his name, confirmed for Xbox Game Pass. It's a big one. And that's coming out.
It's a big get for them.
Yep.
Not for me.
November 9th.
No.
Yeah. And also, Like a Dragon, Ishin, which is already out, is going into Game Pass later in 2023. Which is good, because I was going to pick that up originally, because that's a smaller Like a Dragon action game set in feudal Japan. And I thought, that looks cool. And then I put off buying it. And now it's coming into Game Pass, so I don't have to. I can play it. Terrific.
Sweet. Absolutely.
Mineko's Night Market is coming to Game Pass on October 26th. A nice, cute adventure game. My Lovely Empress is coming to Xbox. There's a third installment in the My Lovely series. Is due out in 2024 and is coming to Xbox consoles and PC. It's also coming to PS5 and Switch. Pal World. This is a crazy one. Pal World is Pokemon, a giant open world Pokemon RPG with guns. And it's going straight into Xbox Game Pass and releases in 2024. That is a crazy game. It looks insane. It's like Pokemon running around with RPGs and AK-47s and shooting each other. It's weird, but I can't wait to play it.
It is.
Party Animals gets an Ori crossover. That's cool. I haven't played Party Animals yet, but I do need to. Persona 3 Reloaded and Persona 5 get new trailers. Of course, we knew they're already coming to Game Pass. PUBG Battlegrounds Erangel map shown off, so the remake of the Erangel map. Wolong Fallen Dynasty gets DLC. And that is it. That is the wrap-up of Tokyo Game Show. So
how are you feeling about it?
There's a couple of cool announcements in there. I think the big one for us specifically was Octopath Traveler 2. We didn't know what the deal was with that, but thankfully it is coming over. It's just they've literally just flipped it on its head, where it released on Xbox and Switch first, then Xbox, and then eventually on the PlayStation. Now it's the opposite way around. It released on Switch and PlayStation, and now eventually onto Xbox. So I'm glad it's eventually coming to Xbox. For those who haven't played Octopath Traveler 1, play it. You'll enjoy it. And you'll definitely enjoy Octopath Traveler 2. I know I will.
Absolutely. I just hope that those rumors are true, that it comes to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Not just because it will save me money.
Yeah.
But because of Play Anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, having the Rock Ally now really brings me in this problem with third parties. Where do you get your stuff now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Play Anywhere solves that. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And to finish off the podcast, Boxy, because I didn't want to dive into this too much, but the CMA have provisionally approved the ABK deal. So this is the beginning of the end. Eventually, still by the end of October, we will have the actual official cut off. But as it stands, provisionally approved, so Xbox and ABK are now starting to cycle up to close. We've seen positions for head of finance working at Activision Blizzard for the transition of Microsoft and Activision together. So hopefully, this is the be all end all. We're not going to talk about the FTC because they're doing administrative rubbish till the end of days, and it doesn't mean anything because they're going to close over them anyway. So yes, thank God, it's nearly the
Finally.
end. Yeah.
It's been how long now?
Too
A
long.
year and 9 months.
Yeah.
Year and 10 months. January 2022.
Yeah.
It got announced, and now we're almost in October 23.
Yeah.
It's about time, man. It is more than about time, and I'm mostly excited for it to be over, and for Xbox to be able to not just being able to now integrate them properly in their organization. And we know that they will run a few things different than they did with Bethesda.
Yeah.
Where they mostly said we leave Bethesda alone. Yeah, they are working entity, they have their own marketing, they have their own publishing and everything. They know how to run their studios. We know it's gonna be different. Bobby's gonna be out. And they were very upfront with that, more or less immediately after the announcement of the acquisition, that this is gonna mean that they are going to report to Phil directly, and it was very different wording and phrasing than with Bethesda and ZeniMax, and so yeah, they're gonna integrate them in their own structure. It's gonna be a mammoth task, man. It's gonna be so much effort to not just do that from an organizational point of view, but also like from a cultural point of view. All the lawsuits going on, and ABK still having like these issues with harassment and whatnot. This is gonna be a big challenge. So yeah, and then of course they are finally free to do other things, you know. And I'm not just talking about potential.
Save Crystal Dynamics.
Existing platform, because it felt to me like they have been not on their best game in the last 1.5 years. You know, they were. It always felt like they're holding back, not making them look as good because of the regulators and the scrutiny. And I don't know, there was just something in the air all the time, and for a good part of those 1.5 years, we had too many like, oh, and now this regulator said that and this and that. And while it was fun for a while because we got a lot of insights on a lot of things behind the scenes and how those deals work and what Sony does in their contracts, and we learned so much. So that was a good part of it. There was also like this point where we all just get sick of it.
Yeah.
And I can't hear it anymore. Another ABK thing, and let's get this deal over with. And so now we are finally at this point, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this will affect, especially let's say the established ecosystem that they already have with console and PC. What will actually change for us with that? Yeah, are they going to shift their focus more towards mobile now? What's gonna happen? It's gonna be very interesting to see, man.
I think studio acquisitions and with the way that things are going on at Embracer, they would be foolish, I think, not to try and snap up Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah.
And maybe even Gearbox.
Absolutely. Gearbox, Eidos Montreal.
Snap them up. Why not? You can probably get them at a not even $500 million.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't even have to run through regulators if you pick them up.
No, they wouldn't even look at it.
Super cheap now.
Wouldn't even look at it. So do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Save them.
Save them.
Save them. What you can do with Crystal Dynamics is just blend them into the initiative. Whoop, straight in.
Yeah. Exactly. Or vice versa. Blend the initiative into this established and well-known studio.
Yep. So yeah, thank God it's nearing the end, and it's going to be interesting, like you say, to see how the landscape changes and what their plans are next when this is closed. Do they take a breather for a moment, or do they just plow on and straight into the next one? We'll have to wait and see. They've got a whole legal team there specifically for these things, for mergers and acquisitions, so it's never the be all and end all. We shall just see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But Boxy, it's the end of our first episode back. Got a nice neat 2-hour show there. Happy days. How are you being? How are you feeling on your first show back? You feeling a little bit more warmed up now for tomorrow?
I'm glad to be back on the midweek, man. Feeling good. Missed this, man. I missed this. I love our chats. Yeah. Honestly. So yeah, we had no midweek and no World of Gaming last week. And 2 weeks ago, I did the World of Gaming without you, with Math. And the week before that, I was on vacation. So it's been crazy. And far too long since we did this, and I missed this. I'm just having a blast, man.
Yeah.
And cannot wait to continue tomorrow.
Yep.
With a lot of other topics we haven't covered today.
Exactly.
On the World of Gaming. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time tomorrow, and it has been a blast today.
It has indeed. It has indeed. So a huge shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Of course, Boxy, let people know where they can find you first of all on the socials, etc.
Very easy. It's Boxenberger everywhere.
Nice.
Twitter or X now, TikTok. Although I haven't been posting on TikTok lately.
Yeah,
so,
same.
Yeah, should do that probably.
Mm-hmm.
Then of course on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Steam, and of course here on YouTube. So very easy to find. And tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time, or 8 p.m. Central Europe, we're gonna have the World of Gaming. I intentionally did not invite a guest this week.
Yeah.
Because, man, first World of Gaming back with you. We just need to have a proper chat about all the things that happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And again, to everybody who joined in, and again, Silent Cypher as well, I noticed had renewed just before the podcast started, renewed his membership there for the channel. So thank you for that, Silent Cypher. And everybody else who tuned in, if you did enjoy the show, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back again next week with the midweek mix-up as usual. I'll be streaming some Starfield on Friday. But other than that, I hope everybody has an awesome week. Enjoy your gaming, and we will see you all again next time. Goodbye.
Later.